On opening night on Friday, I went to watch The Flash with my friends, and to be honest, I didn't expect anything from the movie, and it wasn't because of the Ezra Miller controversies and what they did, but it was really just that I didn't expect this movie to be any good at all. Like I thought it would be good, but like I don't know. And then so all my friends said, "Let's go watch it." So I was like, "All right." So I was only excited about Michael Keaton's Batman, and as it turns out, it was a pretty good movie. So let's talk about that. So first off, I just want to talk about the good, positive stuff. And first off, I want to just talk about the way it looks. Like there's this scene where you see the world when he's running, like when Barry's running, you see the world, and it's incredible. It looks great at some places, but other places it doesn't. We'll talk about that later. And I think I really love the way they made this story different from Flashpoint, because even though it's based on Flashpoint and how Barry Allen goes back and saves his own mother and then creates his alternate universe and he has to figure out how to fix it, this does its own thing. It doesn't like copy a word for word, or does it like the TV show. It does its own thing, and it does it in a unique way where you actually end up liking it and loving it because it's so its own thing and it's weird. Another thing that I loved was that the two Barry Allens played by Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller did a great job of differentiating both Barrys. I didn't feel like one was at one and the other one are the same. Like they're basically the same, but there's differences in the way they're raised because of such things and forth. I think another great thing is the integration of Michael Keaton's Batman in this movie, where Michael Keaton's Batman is not just there because, oh my god, it's cool, Michael Keaton's Batman's back. He's integrated into the story in a neat way where he is necessary, and it's wonderfully done. And he does that one thing better than No Way Home, is that my biggest complaint with No Way Home was that you had to watch all the other movies prior in order to understand the one. Like if you hadn't watched those, you could not understand these movies. But that's not the same thing with this. This is not like that. You can watch, sure, if you watch like Man of Steel or like Michael Keaton's Batman and some like Justice League or like something, it won't hurt you if you watch, or like Snyder Cut's Justice League. You can watch those, but it won't be that much of a difference because none of my other friends had watched that. Like they didn't have that much idea about it, but they still ended up loving the movie because it was really its own thing. That's the way. Like I'm trying to find the words. And one of the biggest, greatest things also was the fact that it established Barry's life. Like it established that this is who Barry is, this is how his world looks like. It does a great job because this is the first Flash movie, right? Like we've had the Flash TV show, which I'm a big fan of, but many people haven't watched it. So this is their first time really seeing the Flash, and that's where they establish very wonderfully. And I think that's what makes it great, that they understand how Barry is and his faults and everything, and they try to do their own thing, and he does his own things. So yeah, it's pretty good. And yeah, like I don't want to go more into it, but I think one of the best parts was also Supergirl, like Sasha Kill. I think that's how you pronounce her name, but she was great as Supergirl, where you see her on screen and you're like, oh my god, that's cool, that's awesome, and it's great. Now the negatives. Now negative, this is like the biggest negative, and that is not necessarily this movie's fault. And no, I'm not talking about what Ezra Miller did. Whatever they did, it was not right, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that the emotional core of this movie is weak. And what I mean by that is that their points, well, if you see the movie you'll notice this, is that you're supposed to feel emotional, you're supposed to feel sad and horrible and all of that, and you do at some points. It's not like you don't feel at all, but it's weak. It's like the core of the movie doesn't do that right. It doesn't give it enough justice, and that's not because of this movie. It's the fact that DCU EU itself doesn't know how to order and maybe give the Flash an actual origin film and then make this movie, because this is the first Flash movie and we don't know if we're gonna get a second one with Ezra Miller. So, and plus James Gunn is rebooting this whole thing, so it's like this movie is very much a fun time, but it could be more, and the potential of the emotional sense that is there in the TV show, where we often see Grant Gustin as Barry Allen, that he's fighting, struggling, and how he does Flashpoint in the TV show is completely different, and it's much more emotional in the show because it's expanded, it's explored, and here it's missing, and that's not their fault. They're trying to handle everything and they do a pretty solid job at it, just that it's not more enough there for me to feel more emotional. It just makes it a good time. I think another weird thing is that it's not full spoiler, but when Ezra Miller is playing Barry, he plays him in this very weird way, and you'll see this, and that's like at the start of the movie, he's Barry is like this Barry is very much hyper, and he's like very awkward, and he socially can't talk, and he's nervous, and like you're like, all right, okay, so Barry Allen is like that, okay. But then Ezra Miller changes his performance, and you'll see this at some point in the movie. Now I'm not gonna say exactly, and he becomes much more confident and nice, and he's like responsible and mature, and then by the end he becomes the thing that he was at the start of the movie, and then you're like, wait, but why did he switch in between? And then that's like very weird to me, because it was like, if he's growing, or is he like just for that point Barry was just like that, and it's interesting. Now Ezra Miller as Barry Allen or the Flash is pretty good. Now I'm not comparing this, but Grant Gustin is my Barry Allen, my Flash, and so that kind of makes it biased, but whenever he's playing the character, he does a pretty good job. And no, I'm not talking about the controversies and what they did. What Ezra did was not right and everything. But this character that he plays, he tries his best, in my belief, but he still doesn't do it justice, because of the fact that the emotional core and complexities of Barry Allen is not there. Because this Barry Allen is supposed to be kind of like the Peter Parker of the world, of this world, because DCU was trying to copy MCU, and that's where it did a mistake, because I feel like Barry Allen is not Peter Parker, and people still love the Flash because he's his own thing. But yeah, that's my review for the Flash. I think it was a really fun movie that you would go out and enjoy and have a great time, but it could have been much more better. So thank you, keep watching, please subscribe, we got more stuff coming. Thank you.